David Sterling had forgotten what it was like to simply sit without a plan. At 41, he was at the helm of one of the city's top investment firms, a powerhouse built on snap judgments and carefully measured risks that had earned him more wealth than he'd ever thought possible. Yet on this overcast April afternoon, sitting alone on a park bench as hurried strangers passed by, each wrapped in their own purposeful lives, David felt more adrift than he had since he was a boy. It had been 3 days since the funeral. His father, the founder of Sterling and Associates, the man who had built it from the ground up and taught David that success was counted in quarterly gains and market share, was gone. And with his death, David felt the loss of the last person who had truly known him. The only one who remembered who he was before ambition had taken over everything. Loosening his tie, David let the soft spring drizzle settle on his designer suit. For the first time in 2 decades, there was no place he had to be. No urgent meetings. No emergencies demanding his immediate input. His assistant had cleared the calendar for the week, assuming he needed time to grieve and navigate the company's transition. But what David was starting to understand was that what he truly needed was to reconnect with the person he used to be. "Mister, you look really sad." The small voice made David lift his head. In front of the bench stood a little girl, no older than 5, with golden curls tucked under a pink knit hat, a matching coat draped over a white dress. She clutched a well-worn teddy bear, its fur golden, a red ribbon tied around its neck. David glanced around, searching for a parent or guardian, but saw only parkgoers drifting past, seemingly unaware of the tiny stranger now studying him. "I'm sorry," David said, caught off guard by the child's blunt honesty. The little girl tilted her head, gazing at him with the open curiosity that only children possess. "You have sad eyes," she said plainly. "Like when my goldfish went to heaven and Mommy cried." But she said crying helps your heart feel better. A tightness pulled at David's chest. When was the last time someone had looked at him closely enough to see past the polished, professional exterior he wore like armor? "What's your name?" he asked softly, finding himself genuinely interested in this perceptive child. "Emma," she said, stepping closer. "Emma Rose Patterson. I'm 5 3/4. What's yours?" "David," he replied simply, her sincerity making formal introductions seem unnecessary. "It's nice to meet you, Emma Rose Patterson." Emma beamed at the use of her full name, then turned serious again. "David, do you know about teddy bears?" "Well," he said, searching his memory, "I think I had one when I was little. A brown bear named Chester. Slept with him every night until I was 7, when my dad said stuffed animals were for babies." "Teddy bears are magic," Emma said with the absolute confidence that only a child can. "They soak up sadness. That's why they're so soft. All the hugs fill them with love. And when you're really sad, they give that love back." She glanced down at her bear, then back up at him, clearly wrestling with an important choice. "You can have mine," she said suddenly, holding the bear out to him. "He's really good at making sadness go away. His name's Mr. Buttons because of his eyes. He's helped me lots of times." David stared at the plush toy in her outstretched hands, something inside him splintering open. This child, a complete stranger, was ready to hand him her most treasured possession, simply because she could see he was hurting. "Emma, that's incredibly sweet, but I can't take your teddy bear," he said gently. "He belongs with you." Emma thought for a moment, then climbed up beside him on the bench with the easy, fearless trust of a child. "Then we can share him," she said. "Mommy says sharing makes everything better." She carefully placed Mr. Buttons between them, one small hand still resting on the bear's head. "Tell me why you're sad, David. Talking helps too sometimes." David looked into her bright eyes and saw a kind of wisdom that had nothing to do with age, but everything to do with a heart that hadn't yet closed itself off to the world's sorrow or beauty. And before he quite realized what he was doing, he started to speak. "My father passed away this week," he said quietly. He was the most important person in my life, even though we didn't always understand each other." Emma nodded solemnly. "That's really heartbreaking. Did you love him a lot?" "I did," David replied, caught off guard by the sudden sting of tears welling up. Something he hadn't felt since the diagnosis 6 months ago. "But I don't think I ever told him that. We'd always talk about work, the business, important stuff. but never about love. Grown-ups can be pretty silly sometimes, Emma said with the clear-eyed wisdom only children seem to have. Love's the most important thing there is. More important than money or jobs or anything like that. She picked up Mr. Buttons and extended the worn-out teddy bear toward David again. Here. Hold him tight and think about how much you love your dad. Mr. Buttons helps you remember that love doesn't leave just because someone goes to heaven. This time, David took the bear. He felt both ridiculous and oddly moved. The bear was soft from years of being held and warm from Emma's embrace. And strangely, as he hugged it, the heaviness in his chest seemed to ease just a little. "Where are your parents, Emma?" he asked, suddenly aware that this extraordinary little girl appeared to be alone in the park. "Mommy's right over there," Emma said, pointing to a woman seated on a bench about 30 yards away, watching with quiet attention. "She said I could practice talking to new people as long as she could still see me. I picked you because you looked like you needed someone to talk to." David waved in the woman's direction. She raised her hand in response, a knowing smile playing on her lips as she observed her daughter's unexpected therapy session from afar. "You know what, Emma?" David said, still holding Mr. Buttons, something shifting gently inside him. "I think you might be right, about love being the most important thing. And about teddy bears having magic." Emma grinned. "Told you. Mr. Buttons is the best at fixing broken hearts." They sat there for a little while longer, an unlikely duo. A high-powered CEO and a wise beyond her years 5-year-old. Sharing a teddy bear and the kind of heartfelt talk David hadn't had in decades. Emma chattered about her favorite stories, her pet hamster, and her belief that ice cream should count as a vegetable since it comes from cows that eat grass. Eventually, her mother came over to collect her. David felt a pang of reluctance, not ready for this brief, magical moment to end. "She's got a real gift," the woman said warmly. "I'm Lisa Patterson. I hope she hasn't been a bother." "Not at all," David said, standing to shake her hand. "She's been exactly what I needed. Your daughter is amazing." Emma gave Mr. Buttons one last hug, then looked up at David earnestly. "Promise you'll remember what I said about love lasting forever." "I will," David said softly. "Thank you, Emma, for everything." As they walked away, Emma turned around and called out with a wave. "Don't forget to hug people and tell them you love them, David. That's the most important job in the world." David remained in the park long after they were gone, still feeling the quiet comfort of Mr. Buttons' magic. For the first time since his father passed, his grief had been joined by something else, gratitude. Gratitude for the love they shared. Even if the words had never been spoken aloud. In the months that followed, David found himself returning to Emma's simple truths again and again. He started engaging with his employees differently, asking about their lives, their families, their hopes outside of work. He set up a foundation in his father's name, aimed at helping children like Emma, those with open hearts who reminded adults what really mattered. And whenever the burden of leadership grew too heavy, David would think of a little girl in a pink coat who saw a stranger's sorrow and offered up her most treasured friend to ease it. He kept a teddy bear in his desk drawer, not Mr. Buttons but one just like him, as a reminder that life's most meaningful work doesn't happen in boardrooms, but in small, genuine moments of human connection. A year later, David found himself back in that same park, and to his surprise, so were Emma and her mother. Now 6, and even more articulate, Emma ran up to him with the same bright energy. "David, did the love magic work?" "It did, Emma," he said, kneeling to meet her eyes. "Your magic worked better than I ever imagined. I understand now. Love never really leaves. It just changes its form." Emma nodded thoughtfully. Teddy bears are really smart about love. As David watched her chase butterflies among the spring flowers, he felt deeply moved. A 5-year-old had taught him the most important lesson of his life. That real healing doesn't come from complicated answers or expensive solutions, but from recognizing someone's pain and choosing to respond with love. Sometimes the most powerful healing comes in the smallest forms, offered by the purest hearts, in moments we never see coming, but need the most. In a world that too often forgets the power of kindness, it's children who remind us. Love freely given is the most transformative force there is.